To our new audience, Baywaves, it is a platform awarded by Bold Moves Radio for African youth to address all the issues that are coming across as African youth in order to build a better Africa. So it's just a platform to reclaim back our Africa. Yeah, why am I nervous? I don't know why I'm nervous. Guys, I'll tell you why I'm nervous. So today I have very important guests, but before I get to it, I'll just go back. So Baywaves, it's a platform awarded by Bold Moves Radio to give African youth the voice to build a better Africa for themselves. So we are here to raise hope for an African child, a flag of hope for an African child. So yes, I'm your host, Happiness Ranto, and I'm not doing this alone. I have my beautiful co-host, Munagedi Tahatso. How are you?
Hello, darling. Hi, darling. How are you doing?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous. There's a lot of weight in this. I'm like, there's a lot of weight in this day, and I'm just looking forward to this whole conversation. But before we get into the topic, I saw on your post story you have vaccinated. How did that go?
So I got vaccinated like 2 weeks ago. Yes, guys, I'm a vaxxed girl. So I got vaccinated 2 weeks ago. It was the Johnson & Johnson thingy. So the side effects were just, I felt tired because I vaccinated around 9. And then around 4, I felt tired, like way too tired. And then the next morning, yeah, I was really tired. But that is just it. Otherwise, it's just a mild headache. And yeah, so far, Bill Gates doesn't know where I am. He hasn't sent me any money. Like, I don't have an extra leg. So nothing exciting at this moment, just a vexed girl, darling.
All right. So yes, audience, today we're gonna be having an interesting topic. It is the one that is giving me heart palpitations right now. We are gonna be having a political debate. So today it's not Tahato and I alone. We have special guests. In the house, we have a representative or a supporter, yeah, ANC, which is Khwadia Motsamapila, and we have a representative via EFF, which is Mr. Trevor there. We are also expecting to have an SRC representative who will be joining us later. And then in the absence of DA, they did send their apologies. We sent them an invite to join us, but in the last hour, they pulled out because they had to prepare for their local elections. So yeah, before we go deep into the political debate, have you guys registered to vote?
I have registered to vote for the
yes, I have.
Khadi?
Yes, I have. I'm a registered voter.
Awesome. And Trevor, I think that's an obvious one. You need a vote for yourself.
That's an obvious one.
That's an obvious one. Okay, so I have a question before about the political debate. So we were expecting a third wave this October, but it is apparently postponed because we have elections. So what are your views about that? So we're just gonna get the order, Munagedi, Khwadi, then Trevor.
I don't think there will be any other waves. Not because of it was not postponed because of the elections. Like so many people have just vaccinated. People are now way too cautious. So even if we do get a wave, it's not going to be as strong. Maybe that's why they lifted the restrictions. I mean, at some point we have to like find a way to navigate through COVID without all these restrictions.
Okay, Khadi.
How you introduce it is very tricky. I don't think we can operate from a point of apparently when COVID and COVID waves is a scientific process. I think those who are experts are in better position to be able to advise government as to how to move. in and
So it was
around
not politically
issues also.
inclined.
Come again?
It was not politically inclined. Is that what you're saying? It's
It could
because
be.
of health
It could.
reasons.
It could be, but that would just be making an assumption, and it's a very dangerous trend to set, to operate from assumption. So yeah, I guess that is that.
Okay. And Trevor,
The ANC must stop playing with our people. We took a march that we must get our people vaccinated because we wanted to open the country. And why should we open the country? Our people were dying of hunger. So we had to make sure that everyone is vaccinated, including Munakedi decided to go and vaccinate because of such. So then our economy can come back to normal. But we cannot decide to have such behavior where people decide whenever there are political events, they decide to say, no, this thing has stopped. We cannot manage to deal with it at this particular time because it's a serious matter. It's a serious matter. And our people are at least now their eyes are open. They are able to see the animal that the ANC is, and they will respond accordingly when it comes to the 1st of November. Thank you very much.
all right. You do sound like Julius Malema, you know. It's okay. Khwadi, so are you saying, okay, what do you think would have happened if we're on hash level 5? Were we going to proceed with elections? Do you think we were going to proceed with elections, or they were going to come up with something else?
Ours was clear that okay, no, it's fine.
I thought the time was mine. Quite disingenuous. Quite disingenuous from Trevor here to talk about an ANC that is misleading people, when in recent times they've been flouting COVID regulations of the so-called people they care about. Another issue, or back to the main issue rather. It would have not created an enabling environment for democracy to thrive, as it would hinder free and fair elections if political parties were not able to campaign for their cause. So under lockdown level 5, no, definitely not.
Definitely not. So you think they would have postponed the elections?
Democracy and the rule of law, as the constitutional court has guided, it would have not been upon discrepancy of the state to say that we want to postpone. Had the minister decided to postpone the elections, the powers that be or opposition would have taken the government to court to say that you are hindering democracy. So as the constitutional court has guided, it is okay that we have elections now, even though the ANC might have had a different view. I think it's well and proper that we must proceed.
All right. Yes, I can see that you guys already have your boxing gloves on. We are not going to fight. ANC, EFF, please. We are not fighting. Mr. Trevor, you wanted to say something?
No, I wanted to respond to your question.
Yes.
The EFF is the only organization in the whole South Africa that stood firm to say, let's postpone elections to next year. But the ANC was busy supporting that we must go for elections. So they must not come and try to use the fact that the constitution states otherwise. Because if ever they decided in parliament, we're going to vote with them, if ever they wanted to. So they must not come and try to brush us. We cannot be brushed by such.
Okay. It's getting heated already, I see. So Yes, you are still listening to Bay Waves. We are having a political debate. So the one with the yellow shirt there representing ANC is Khwadia Motse-Maphila. He's a very young community activist. He's been leading since the age of 16, right? Through Leaders in Motion and currently Icon. Is it Icon Africa or is it just Icon?
Icon Foundation.
Icon Foundation. So yes, Mr. Maphila, how did you come about being active in politics at a young age and deciding to take the whole leadership thing into your hands?
As a point of departure, let me deviate from that a bit. Take opportunity to pay homage to a couple of people. Napia Kanyan of the Matlala Dichoung for his servant leadership and his wisdom over the years. Also take this opportunity to pay homage to an uncle of mine who unfortunately succumbed to COVID earlier this year. Once a horror, George Maphila. To say to him that the project of the NDR is in very safe hands. We'll run with this thing. Lastly, to pay homage to Kgoshi Kgolo ya Marotaba Pedi, Thulare the Third, Hlabiro wa Bauba. We are a nation that is poorer without you. How do I find myself in leadership? Not politics per se.
Also politics.
Okay. I grow up in a family that is of leadership, that occupies various positions in society. So my interest stems there. The reason why I do not necessarily want to pin it to political leadership is that the platform I get from a young age is through NGO organizations, non-profit organizations like Leaders in Motion, then under the leadership of one of the greatest young minds we have in the country, Kgotatso Shani Mabuza. So as it grows, I get to a realization that politics is about the embodiment of the lives of the globe, the world, and as you bring it down to the continent, African people, Black in particular. So I see it as a platform to express the needs and the wants of the people. So that is where my interest stems. But equally important to clearly state it on record, the African National Congress remains and is the only party that can continue to lead society, foster social cohesion, and improve the lives of people economically.
All right, thank you, Mr. Maphila. I can see Trevor there shaking his head, but it's okay. Yes, the one in red is Mr. Trevor Mashudu Ngubeni. He is representing EFF. So Mr. Trevor is a former SRC member at VUT. He was there 2017, 2018. ISRC 2019, and currently he's Ward 15 councillor candidate in Vereeniging. Sure, you didn't just want to be active in politics, you also want to be there in the office, Mr. Trevor. So can you also tell me about your journey? How did you come about taking on politics? Was it something that has always been in you? And this whole leadership thing, yeah, being in an SRC position, I know you guys lead us. So you're basically in the forefront. Please take me through that whole journey.
Thank you very much. Actually, I started before by studying history in high school. So I was one of those that were so much into education. I was focused there. And then I did my first year. In my first year, I was not active politically. And then came second year. On my second year, I decided to join politics because there were a lot of challenges. I remember very well. In my second year, we had something like 4,000 students that were rejected by the system because of financial challenges. That's where I decided to say I have to be part of politics, because that's where people take decisions on how these people are going to be absorbed back in the system. And then I took it upon myself through that time. Then there was the establishment of the EFF. That's where I came in. I was very active in the organization, and I made sure that I assist people, even though we're still not in power by then, because it was a new organization, but we'll be on the ground assisting people. And then on our first time going for elections, we lost. And then the second time, we won all 16 seats because of the hard work that we were actually pushing all along. Because you don't win elections through last day, you work throughout. That's why we always won elections with such number. And after leading in the SRC, I decided to say, let me just focus more on my studies. By the way, I'm a graduate, and I'm currently busy with my LLB. I did legal assistance and also a PR. So now I'm just my focus was my studies. But then when the community called and say you must be available to lead our people in the right direction, I decided to say I'm available, because when people call you to come and stand and defend them, you have to be available. So that's whom I am. And that's why I decided to take the opportunity and say I'm available to go and lead my people to the right direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. That's an interesting journey. So I'm not gonna exclude my amazing co-host, Lena. I'm sure she is leading in her own capacity. Takatse, this is your time to shine. I know Lena, our leader, you have a local strip club. What do you call it? What do you do? Sign Miguel, tell us, what do you do?
I'm basically empowering women. So my local strip club serves as a safe space for women to just come, and it's the strip club it's where we literally strip our emotions and put it on the table. Like, we want this, we want that. And yeah, I was also part of the SRC back in high school, but then politics just got way too complicated through varsity, and I ended up, you know how I feel about politics. And I'm glad that we have people to attack today. We're not just gonna attack our screens.
Okay, and are you public about what you're gonna vote for?
I am publicly conflicted. Because honestly, I don't want to give EFF the chance. We've given ANC so much chance. Yeah. I also do not dream of giving DA the chance. So basically, I'm publicly conflicted, to be honest. Like, EFF is radical, EFF can solve the problems, but I feel like they're just too angry to think rational. Like, I'm gonna be brutal. EFF is what they call us women. It's too emotional. ANC is too old. DA, it's too emotional. It's too, like what they did in Phoenix the past week, where they were saying the killings were racism and whatnot. Leona is just out of the picture. So I would say at this moment, I'm gonna vote for myself.
Yeah, still talking about voting for yourself, Tahat. So I'm sure you have conducted a mini research for us about how to form your own political party. What are the requirements? Please take us through that process in case somebody is out there and thinking about it, because I myself is also conflicted, or okay, what should I vote for? At this point, we've been giving ANC a lot of chances, but they keep on failing us. But I'm also thinking better the devil you know. And there's also EFF that I feel like, yeah, they're on the right track, but there are other things, a lot of things that I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for that type of a leadership. There's DA as well. I don't want to attack it because we don't have a rep here, so I'll just reserve my comments. So we need somebody. I've been saying this, I think, for the past 3 airings, or we need somebody really young, a leader who's going to form a political party. They know Gorbona, they have a guaranteed vote for me. So I want to know, Takatso, how easy or difficult is it to create a political party?
Okay, so you with your people, you at a joint and you think, okay, let us form a political party. Sure, you have the support, but then now you have to register it. Firstly, you need a name that's not more than 60 letters. And then when it's abbreviated, it must not be more than 8 letters. And then after that, you need a copy of the constitution, which you can get on IEC. And then a deed of foundation where 100 registered voters are going to sign. Well, this is for municipal elections, so you need about 100 registered voters. So so you can actually get those 100 signatures. And then you need 2 sets of logos to present, to send your application with. After that, you need a 200 registration fee with the IEC. And then, if you want to participate in the municipal elections, you have
Takatso, I think your mic was muted right there.
Yeah, it was muted. Okay, so for your party to be selected for municipal elections, you have to post a notice in the local newspaper a month before your elections. And then if you want to participate, and now you've gotten your 100 registered voters, and then you were approved, your party was approved, you now want to like be elected at the national level. It's the same thing. The name, not more than 60 letters, abbreviated, no more than 8 letters, a copy of the constitution signed by 500 registered voters. And then again, you need the 2 sets of logos in color. And then instead of 200, you now have to pay 500 for registration. And you need a hard copy of the government gazette in which it appears, the notice, the local newspaper. So really, the fruit just, talk about it, just look here. But also now, like, if the youth, literally youth year DA, youth year EFF, youth year COPE, youth year what, if they come together, because I feel like they have the same objective. If they come together and create their own political party, they stand more chance than being with an already established a party that's not doing anything for their people.
Wow, that's a nice one, Takatso. I actually thought you need to slaughter a cow to register a political party. So if you are there watching, please, you got the pointers. It's not so difficult to make a political party. So, and you have a vote from me. You can come loot it away. Do you want to say something, Takatso?
Yeah, you can also get the forms and the regulations, the official paperwork for it on the IEC website. They provide that. They provide the application form. They provide the regulations and blah 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 blah. So just visit the IEC. You'll find everything there.
Okay, thank you. I see our guest is also here. Mr. Phala, can you please enable your camera and your mic? Would like to see and hear from you. While we're still waiting for him, we'll just carry on. I want to know from you guys, Mr. Mapila and Mr. Ngubeni, how does one become an active member of a political party? because hey, membership wa ANC wa tura. Do we have to buy it? What happens? Do you know the whole process of becoming a member, an active one? How do I come about even being part of the councillor, running for the councillor position? Do I just get there registered and I'm like, hey, I want to be a councillor? Mapila, you can go first.
ANC membership is not expensive. You would understand that as an organization that is not for profit, joining is voluntary. The process is going onto the website, the ANC website, where you'll find a form. You fill it in, and then you pay a joining fee. I'm not quite sure of what the figure stands at now, but yeah, it's not a complicated process. In terms of wanting to become a councillor candidate for the ANC, it is all really just about participating in local structures at branch level. And once you have shown the willingness, capacity, and skill to lead, I'm sure then there would be no reason for you to be denied the platform to serve, because that is what the ANC-led government is about, serving.
Awesome. Mr. Trevor, le nna ke nyaka bona ka perete ke nyaka ke candidate ke nyaka di-vote tsa go ba a councillor. So how do I come about getting to that position ya gore le nna ke be ko ditulong?
Le ska rata ditulo man.
A be re lwana o fitlhile. Why did you get there? Also tell us go fitlhile bjang fao. Tell us about your journey till that chair that you're sitting on right now.
But you asked me about the membership.
Yeah, I asked you about that one. Ke nyaka o tseba gore o fitlhelele go ba a councillor candidate. I heard about how you joined politics and but yeah, that position that you're sitting at, like assuming well, this is me, I want a political party, I joined it. Mr. Mapila already explained or join Avian, but how do I come about getting up there, having a voice?
It's all about participating in the community politics, where you deal with community issues, you attend to the problems that are affecting community daily, because usually in communities it's way different from where I come from, which was the student structure, and the student governance. So when I started with community, it was that issue of checking. Our people are having problem of sewage, our people are having problem of water, our people are having problem of electricity, our people are having problem of roads. So that's where I came in, and when the EFF decided to have a sitting and say who is available, the branch must decide on who they should send. Then the branch members decided to send me. That's why I stood and say I'm available, and it's a democratic process where everyone is allowed to be available. Once you are a member of the organization, you are allowed to stand and then you contest. So actually, we're just contesting in the branch level. And after that, the names were supposed to be sent by the branch leadership. I'm not the branch leadership, by the way, but I was elected to contest the election as a councillor candidate. There's branch leadership that I report to. So that's how I came in. where the community, which are members of the organization, agreed that you can go and serve us as our candidate. So that's why I'm confident today to say we are taking the elections on the 1st of November, because people had belief and trust that we can take this thing. And indeed, we're going to take it.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Mr. Trevor. Yes, to the audience, you are still tuned in Bay Waves. I'm your host, Happiness Rantle, co-hosted by Monagiri Takhadzo, and we have beautiful, amazing comrade, cadre, leadership here who are joining, have honored our invitation. We are having a political debate, but it's not yet heated. So please, EFF, because it's gonna get heated. But ANC, come in, DA, political, but you can still come in, interact. There by the comment section will be reading your comments live. Just shoot your shot. And also here, before I take your hand, Monagiri Takhadzo, we have another guest, Phala. I want to introduce you, but I can't introduce you when you're not here, Phala. You'll just raise your hand the minute you are back. Monagiri, you are recognized. What's up, my love?
We have comments from Facebook. Obviously, okay. What else without Prudence? So Prudence is asking, given the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, what should be done to ensure that the November elections are free, fair, and secure? This goes to both our comrades. And then Tamano Mudimu, I think this is addressed to Mr. Hadi. Tamano Are, but then why would he think that the ANC will sustain the country's economy, which it failed for 27 years? What is the new strategy? So yeah, those are the questions we have so far. Shout out to Prudence.
Okay, thank you, Takhadzo. I'll just give it to Mr. Trevor first, then Khwadi will come after.
Sorry, can you come again?
The question.
Yes.
Given the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, what should be done to ensure that the November elections are free, fair, and secured?
I think it's a good thing that we're on level 1, because beside that, there was no way we're going to have free and fair elections. Even though as the EFF, we decided to say we are not going to form part of those things anymore, because those regulations were not fair on anyone, because you couldn't do your door-to-door, you were restricted, you were locked up. So I feel like now we cannot be in a position where we say they are not going to be fair and fair. I feel like they'll be fair, because we're on the ground, all of us, and we both, all the organization are on the ground fighting for power. So let's go and face each other, and then we have our people and go to vote. But the only challenge that we have is that, you know, speaking with your people with these things of mask, it's a challenge, but we're learning to live with it. Thank you very much.
I have a burning question to both the comrades, ne? Guys. When you guys are doing your door-to-door campaigns, don't you guys feel anything when you're promising someone who's been struggling for the whole democratic era, promise us something that has like honestly on an emotional level? What do you guys feel when you go to a house that you've seen your whole life, when to that door to campaign, and then you see that person is still in the same condition they were in years ago, but you're still gonna promise them something that was not delivered for years? Doesn't that like I know what is somewhere?
I think Takhadzo, you're still shooting Mr. Mapila there, because the other parties didn't get the opportunity or the platform to actually rule?
No, they do
Okay.
have we've been voting for a very long time. They've been doing door-to-door campaigns. Not Dabaya ANC fella, like all the parties that go like door-to-door and take these pictures with people who are already poverty-stricken, Baba Tebisha miracles. Doesn't it hit somewhere for it? Like, don't you guys think, or maybe it's best to do local grounding and whoever wants to listen.
Vila, I'm sure you've noted
Can
3
I-
questions at this point.
Can I
3 questions.
comment?
Sure.
I'm going to tackle the questions in chronological order.
Okay.
I think the first one, if memory serves me well, was around free and fair elections. We are confident in the elections being free, fair, and secure because since the attainment of democracy in 1994 to date, the ANC-led government and as part of state has helped build very strong Chapter 9 institutions, the IEC being one of those, to handle elections that are always independent, free and fair. So that goes to show our commitment to strengthening democracy. I think it was a question posted by Chamano that we've led for the past 27 years, and it seems that there's not much that has been done economically. So to tackle that question, what is a new strategy? We start first by taking accountability, because that is what a leader of society is supposed to do. That not all has gone right, but take into consideration or into mind that the ANC is a very big church, and its element of inclusivity means that you have some rogue elements. The current ANC that emerged from Nazareth, led by His Excellency Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, has been fighting tooth and nail to fight corruption that has regressed our democratic gains. And you must also understand that when you fight corruption, those who are corrupt are not going to take it lying down to say, no, now law enforcement can take its course, we'll go to jail, we've been stealing, it's fine. It doesn't happen like that. So part of the strategy that has been put out clearly is that the ANC is not only promising, but it's in the process of dealing with corruption, building state capacity. And if you read our manifesto, I hope that you did. There's an economic plan, economic reconstruction plan economic employment plan by the president that has up to so far provided 1 million opportunities for young people. Now I'll move on to the question, Sister Takatsu. It's painful, the state that our people find themselves in, of abject poverty. And it has started to get to a point whereby our people feel rejected by us. But it's not entirely true to say that nothing has been done for the past 27 years. When the ANC-led government inherited a state that was bankrupt. And I know one will pose the question, one will pose the argument that, but you can't be blaming apartheid 27 years later. yes, the ANC has had its faults and its problems, but if you fully understand where we come from as a people, you understand the depth of the damage that apartheid caused, and you'd also understand that correcting those are not going to happen over a small period of time, of a quarter of a century. On the issue of door to door and seeing people and seeing our people in the state that they find them in. Like I said, it's painful, but we must sell hope to a logical, to an extreme that is logical. Leaders are dealers in hope, and if we become dejected and we fail to preach a message of hope to our people, then as a nation we are doomed. Because if not hope, what lies beyond that? Why must people continue waking up? Why must people continue trying? If you as a leader fail to say to them, there has been a lot of mistakes, we are self-correcting, we're taking on accountability, but there is still hope.
Thank you, Maphila, for that answer. To our audience, please shoot these people. If you have questions for EFF, we have Trevor there in his red beret. And then if you have questions for the ANC, hashtag Tumamina, so you can also shoot at him. And then I'm just gonna pull in our guest. Oh, he disappeared again. Mr. Phala keeps disappearing on us, but it is fine. It brings me to a follow-up question, Mr. Maphila. You said something that is very interesting, Kore. ANC came about the whole IEC structure. If I give birth to a child, I expect them to be loyal to me before anyone else in this world. So do you think there's fairness in it? Don't you think maybe the votes are being manipulated in a way to favor the mother, which is the ANC?
I think you caught the stick at the wrong end. Okay. I said the ANC-led government. There's the ANC, the party, then there's the ANC-led government. And government, as the state, has a duty and a constitutional responsibility to build institutions that are strong and independent. That's where you will understand where comes about the separation of powers. So there's checks and balances in between the judiciary, the executive, and parliament. All of them are looking at each other in certain ways to make sure that our constitutional democracy is guarded. So I don't think there'd be any infringement. As I said, the ANC-led government has contributed as a part of society to strengthening IEC, the IEC amongst others, but that does not infringe the independence of the Electoral Commission. We're 25 years plus into democracy. If there had been any major infringements, then that would have signaled the beginning of the end for us as a constitutional democracy. So no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Maphila. You keep on saying things and I just share let me get on to you. You said something about the apartheid government. You keep on, it comes out as if you're still blaming it, but you're not really blaming it. Yara, 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 yara. These days, no, actually, that whole apartheid government was actually better because the economy was doing well, and the list is so long. I was just, I don't know because I was not yet born at that time, but I had but compare and they feel like that one, it's better. That's why we have a lot of people wanted to vote for the DA. I'm not saying it's because of that, but I had somebody, Ariana, they're gonna vote for the DA because they think it's better to have that kind of a system. Do you agree? But before because we obviously know that you're gonna go against it. Mr. Trevor, do you think the government, the apartheid, is better than the one that we have right now?
I cannot say the government of apartheid is better than the one that we have at the moment. Because firstly, there is no one who wants apartheid. And in the democratic South Africa, we must move forward. And how do we move forward? We must just remove the ANC and have an organization that will take our people serious, because unfortunately the ANC, through corruption, through money laundering, they are failing our people, and it's a sad reality that we have to live with daily. And when you check each and every day, municipalities are actually falling. There is nothing happening that is quite pleasing to our people. And that's why we should be at a position where we just remove this organization, we remove it from power, because they are not assisting us in any way. But we don't want to go back to apartheid. That's why there's an alternative, which is the EFF, that will take the people forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. Before I come to you, Mr. Khwadi, I just want to welcome Mr. Phala. So yes, we invited Mr. Phala to represent Varsity University Politics. So Mr. Phala is a former SRC president at SMU, formerly known as Metunta. He's a medical student and a political activist. He was also in the forefront of FISMA's fall. So Dumela, Mr. Phala, we've been waiting for you. How are you? Please enable your audio. Thank you.
Yeah, Dumela, happiness and good evening to everyone in the interview.
Alamatata.
Thobela.
Mr. Phala, we are having a political debate. We haven't really gotten to the debate. We're just talking about the current structure of our government right now. So this is me inviting you to be part of the conversation. You can just, if you have a question or anything, you can just raise your hand through those features, the Zoom features. Now I'll just take it to my co-host Monagedi. I'm sure she has something from the comment section. Takatso.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my darling. I'm in heat. It's hot. Okay, so they're coming for party, like they're coming for you, say. I have Nabi Marvin Gadining who's saying, I think it's time we get rid of political parties, because this is not true democracy. And we're basically electing a party to decide who's going to be our leader. Remember, we didn't elect those people directly, so they owe us no accountability at all. So he feels like we need to elect the personalities we want, and hopefully they will be accountable to us. I feel like I agree with him here, because even when they were interrogating them about, when they interrogate them, they interrogate them as a party and not as leaders of the country. We at the ground, we left with so many questions, like we don't even get to see the receipt. We just told, oh no, 65 million is Amaile. And honestly, but now they're gonna stand there and say they owe us no accountability. So Mr. Marvin, thank you if you're a minister.
I think you should just throw them one by one. Before you can continue, I just want to advise our tech support to readjust our audio. It's kind of soft. So now as Takatso is talking, because she's talking loud, it's very sharp. So please readjust our audio. You can repeat the question, Takatso, to you, Mr. Mapila. I hope you're taking.
I think I'm covered. No, I think I'm covered with the question.
Right.
I'd prefer she poses a second one, so I I attack them simultaneously for
All right.
the purpose of saving time.
All right. Wiseman and Globu are for this 27 years, what accountability have they taken? Tamano Are, what is his perspective on the issue of people without basic commodities but have been voting all these years? Tamano he was following on something and then he said, but then why would he think that ANC will sustain the country's economy, which it fit for 20? Oh no, sorry, this is the old one. He finds it funny and deceiving when you say ANC is dealing with corruption. How are you dealing with corruption when you are the root of corruption? And there are still more questions that are coming, but so far you can answer.
Thank you, Takatso. Mapilo, you can take the stand.
Thank you again. Thank you once more. The first question I think was posed by one Marvin Gadiming. Tau, getting rid of the political party system has its own pros and cons, but it's a conversation that must engage further in. The current system, I would liken it to a tree. A tree is rooted in the communities but has many branches. Therefore, it creates channels from local government to national when you have grievances. The scrapping of the party political system to vote for individuals has its own dangers, and here they are. I'd use the United States as a bad example. Even though the party, it's a partially party political system, in most instances, individuals take charge. The danger of that is popularity politics, that you can wake up and have someone who's a comedian for president because they're most liked and they're more well known than someone who has an understanding of politics. Politics is a science, you must remember. It's a science that is there for the betterment of the lives of society. So the dangers are that you move from away from a party political system, you might get into a popularity contest, which would not serve this country and its people any good. I seem to have forgotten the question by Wiseman. Takatso will help me with presenting it again. I'll move on to the one-year chairman. What gives the impression that the ANC is dealing with corruption when they're supposedly the root of corruption? If you remember well, in the beginning of our conversation, I made a disclaimer that the ANC is a very big church. And in this very big church, you will find individual characters. But as it is a big church, any church that is established is established around principles. And we will all agree that the ANC, as founded, is set upon principles of servitude and moral, ethical leadership. So anyone within this big church that does anything to the contrary is not serving the purpose of the church. So yes, there have been elements within the ANC that seek to destroy its image and to cancel out its role as leader in society. But like I said again, His Excellency President Ntate Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa is leading the fight against corruption. And If you don't believe that, you must watch how the state is dealing with its cases now via the NPA and other law enforcement agencies. And to show that that is being done, people will start to want to tarnish his name because he's leading the project of renewal, both for the ANC as leader of society and South Africa as a people. Sister Khato, can you please post now in Rape so that I can tackle it in closing?
Ari, for this past 27 years, what accountability have they taken?
What accountability have they taken? The first word I said on this platform when I got here was taking accountability. That maybe we have not done everything so well and right, but I encouraged him to go to our manifesto. It states in detail what is it that the ANC has done, what is it that the ANC has not done, and up to the point that we find ourselves at, what do we think the ANC must do as leader of society?
All right.
I'm still coming to you before you go. Ari, speaking of Dabaya, what the ANC has done, do you think the programs are outlined by the president are job creation? Like, can you survive with an amount between 3,500 and 4,000 rands per month?
Those programs are intervention. They are not permanent solution, right? But someone who is getting nothing and someone who's getting 3.5, 4,000, which is national minimum wage, is at a far better position to be able to survive, taking into consideration the current economic climate and its challenges. Some of them due to COVID, some of them self-inflicted, as I've said. Is it enough? No. But is it the right point to start? Yes, definitely. What is it that we can do? You go to our manifesto. It talks about an upgrade of skills, that we've built skills up to so far, but there's so much more that we can do to equip our people with skills to enable them to turn our economy into one that is thriving. Because if you clearly understand, the role of government is to create an environment that is enabling for businesses to grow. And as these businesses grow, they'll employ people. And as people are pushed into employment, it moves the country on a trajectory of prosperity and the eradication of poverty. So, yeah, is it a good, what the president has done, is it a good starting point? Yes, definitely. Is it enough? In the short term, maybe. In the long term, definitely not. There's still more that can be done. But with the experience that we've gained with all our faults, the ANC has built experience over the past 27 years, and not only experience, it is continuously building state capacity, which is what is needed to move this country into the direction that it needs to move. With your questions, I think they should also pose questions to my brother Trevor, because I would hate for this to become a one-man show.
Thank you, Mr. Mapila. Yes, guys, we are left with less than an hour to closing. So please comment there, grill them both. DA, if you're a supporter of the DA, please send us a message privately or there by the comment section. Or now I can take on this thing for DA. I think we need a part 2 of this thing because 2 hours is little. So this is an opportunity to grill, applaud, share whatever. So we turn on my ANC, EFF, gather in the comment section and let's have a conversation. I'm your host, Happiness, co-hosted by Takhatso, and we are having a political debate. We are joined by an ANC representative, Mr. Khwadi, EFF representative, Mr. Trevor, and then we have Mr. Phala, who is representing university politics. So, Mr. Phala, we keep on losing you, and I want to ask you certain questions. Can you just come on and let me grill you before I grill these ANC and EFF? Oh, yes. Mr. Phala, can you hear me? Okay, while we are waiting for Mr. Phala, I'm sure, Takazu, do you have anything else from the comment section?
Not really, but I do have something from my heart.
Before you get to your heart, my love, before you get to your heart, there's a thingy, corruption in the comment section, and there were also messages that I received on WhatsApp, which I forwarded them to you regarding corruption. But literally the question, Joe, I think there should be a follow-up question to that burning question that you have. Do you still remember it?
There's nothing from you, my darling. But I just wanted to... You send them where?
On WhatsApp.
No,
privately on your, from our page, from our chat. I forwarded a series of questions. So please take note of that as you're reading questions.
Okay, you read the ones that you say. Okay, now I just wanted to say that I hate how our government has forced us to be in a position for at least I have this, at least I have. We can't, honestly, like, it's crippling. We can't be 27 years into democracy and still saying 3.5 is much better than having nothing. We should be saying something like at least 10K is better than having 3,000. Like, we should be up here, not down there. Yeah, it's crippling, honestly. Like, sure, it's a good measure, but it's still pushing other people further down. It's not uplifting anyone. Sure, after a year, I'm back to square one. I love how this generation is pushing this agenda, opening up businesses. But how are they going to grow if people are not employed? If I'm not employed, I cannot support your business as much as I want to. So, the business just said, when people do not have any jobs, we don't have any buying power. Without any buying power, that's what I wanted to say.
All right. I want to know, I think the biggest question, our main question, since we have less than an hour to closing, how do politics affect the development of the country? So right now we're going to be focusing on South Africa, since we are all South Africans here. Mr. Trevor, can you tell us, how do you think politics affect the development of this country? Mr. Trevor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes. How do you think it affects how do you think politics affect the development of a country? Because when I tell you, since grade 3, released the developing countries, developed countries, and non-developed countries. We've always had South Africa as a developing country. Now I'm an adult who's qualifying to have a baby, and South Africa is still a developing country. So do you think politics have anything to do with that?
Yes, they have influence on that because if you can check, it depends on how the government is running. No? And at this point where we're standing, the government is not taking procedures and processes that seek to liberate our people and be able to challenge the status quo. And how am I saying this? Look, we've got a lot of mines in the country. We've got a lot of factories in the country. We've got a lot of companies doing a lot of activities in the country, but those people are running with the resources. When you check, they are allowed to even employ people that are not South Africans, while we do have qualified people whom are South Africans. And how do you then say you are going to build a better South Africa while your people are not getting income? You are right to say, why should someone celebrate 3,000? You cannot be celebrating 3,000. That's a serious mediocre. Even a student that gets NSFAS doesn't even deserve to get such an amount, which is 1 point something. You are celebrating 3,000. What can you buy with 3,000? Nothing. Because when you check a mere maize meal, it's 50 rand, 5 kg. So what are you going to do with 3,000? Nothing. And when you check the skills that they're relying on, we said fees must fall. When we raised that issue of fees must fall, we knew that we are going to have people that are going to be qualified, people whom are not going to sit at home because they don't have resources to go and start. Look, by the way, look at myself. I graduate, and it means once you are done with your first qualification, then there is no way you are going to get funding to do any other qualification. You must then source for BASA. And these are the kind of things that are affecting us, looking at our background. But the ruling party doesn't raise such things because there's no one who can critically think in that organization to view such things, to say, no, look, man, you did very well. You completed your qualification. Why don't you then fund you going forward? Because they don't care about the education of our people. And they just celebrate NSFAS. We said, no, open this thing. Once you have went to a public school and you find that you do deserve NSFAS, why should you then apply? Because there are certain individuals who cannot even apply. You're staying at a rural area, which doesn't even have a mere network. We have a problem of infrastructure as well in this country. But then there's no one who can raise it because the ruling party is so relaxed that they are just enjoying in those offices. And it's wrong. And when you check their manifesto, I read this thing, but there are no qualified people. You cannot say that there are no qualified people when you led 27 years in governance. To get qualified people doesn't even need you to take 10 years to get qualified people. I speak with doctors daily where we discuss such things, where they even come with ways to assist our people. But then the ruling party doesn't care because it's not even assisting in any way. You know, when you check the EPWP, you cannot have such people being on contract forever. Let's take, I'm in contract for 6 months. What do you expect me to do after 6 months? Absorb me. That's an easy thing. When it comes to the municipalities, they must make sure that those departments, let's take it, the Department of Electricity, employ people that know their job, people whom are going to deliver, people whom understand what they are doing daily. And then you are not going to have problems. And you absorb the community members that are already having qualifications, because our people do have qualifications. This mentality of people are not having qualifications, they are lying, because we do sit with people, we speak with people, and they take out their qualifications. You know, it's very heartbreaking to find someone smoking nyaupe because he or she didn't have money to go and study, and he or she didn't have employment. And it's because there are no people who can critically think. There's no use of us having tenders when we can absorb our people straight to the system. That's an easy thing. You absorb the people into the system, you pay them monthly. You leave these things of tenders. Tenders are not assisting us in any manner. I also spoke with people that are into farming. These people are not getting any assistance from the government. How do you then expect them to move forward? Then these are the kind of things that as young people we must raise, because now there is a demand of gold. But in the next 20 years will be short of gold in South Africa, because there are countries that are busy exporting from us. So these are the kind of things that we have to come up as a country to say, how do we then assist these people, these young people, young farmers, to also have land? Because ours is to give them land so then they can manage to work on these things. But then you look for land, you look for resources. When are you going to have such? You'll even get old, as you are saying, without even getting resources to make sure that our people are covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. I see you already have your boxing gloves on. Don't worry, I'm gonna give you guys that time. Yeah, for the box time. I'm gonna give you guys at least 10 minutes just for you to
Thank you
shoot
very
your
much.
shots.
You can add.
So don't take out the gloves, yes, until Kilifa go ahead. Ting. Before Mr. Mapila join, mentioned taba fees must fall, and I think Morgan Tabelango, Mr. Pala, he was in the forefront. Mr. Pala, I want to know what was the whole reason, the movement to fees must fall. And then I also see on your profile where you are a political activist. What does that mean? And can you also answer the main question at hand, which is how do politics affect the development of the country?
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are.
Let me render my apologies for coming late. I've been having connectivity issues. I'm in the Bundus here, so I hope you accept my apologies. Look, being a political activist and a person who was in the forefront of Fees Must Fall, it has helped a lot of university students to a greater degree, because basically, primarily, we're fighting for a free and quality education, which perhaps maybe we can say that the government of today is unable to provide, especially the poor students, with free education. We are subjected to NSFAS and all manner of bursaries that have got their own contractual obligations that we have to abide to. We do not even have the quality and decolonized education that we were fighting. But we made quite a number of strides in terms of
Mr. Pala, can I please interlude right there? Let me disturb you. I think your earphones are not connected properly. There's this disturbing sound in the background.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Sorry for that. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's what was Fees Must Fall primarily was concerned about: free decolonized education, and also the transformative agenda in the higher education sector. So we managed to achieve quite a number of things that are there in the public for all of us to see. And also to mention that we also fought for outsourcing must fall, which was primarily to make sure that all workers of the university, they must be permanent, they must be stop being enslaved and being suffering in the hands of the capitalist establishment. So we managed in my university, we managed to insource all the workers. There's no longer a tender here. All the workers, be it security, gardeners, and everyone else, they are working for the university. Then they can relax and wait for a retirement or whatsoever. And it comes with benefits in terms of your medical aids and security in terms of job-wise, and all manner of things that comes with being permanent in a public entity. And lastly, being a political activist, it means that you are in the forefront of every struggle that you encounter, especially the worker-student struggle, which we find ourselves in as a student as well as an activist, which I help workers in terms of their worker issues, shop floor conditions that they find themselves. And equally, the students, we are there to assist them on all manner of things. So being a political activist, you are more like a community worker. permanently and is for a lifetime. It's more like we're revolutionary. We are always in the forefront of every revolution we find befitting, and it's for the interest of all people of the land. I'm not sure if I've answered all your questions.
You have answered all my questions. Thank you, Mr. Phala. I'm going to pass the mic back to Mr. Khwadia Mapila. Yes, back on the question, do you think politics affect the development of the country? Mr. Mapila?
The question is, I'm here. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, the question is, how do politics affect development?
Yeah.
As a parting shot, one cannot mention development without mentioning politics. They're two sides of a coin. In this sense, when there is political stability, policy certainty, and clear directive of the rule of law, which is politics, then development follows. This through various ways. Political stability and the rule of law also will ensure that the tourism economy, which has potential to be the largest foreign exchange earner, is one that is thriving. So when the world comes to South Africa, because South Africa is fairly safe, it has places of interest, and they come with their currencies, our people benefit. So how does politics affect development? It's one and the same thing. When one moves in the right direction, the other is happy. Getting that out of the way, I'd like to touch on a few things that were mentioned by my colleague here. Please do not be mistaken. I was not celebrating a stipend of 3.5. And like Takatsu, you said, in as much as there'd be an encouragement for people to start businesses and I'm happy that you have an understanding that the economy works like a clock. It's clockwork. When one piece of the puzzle is not working, the other struggles. So everything has to be working for the clock to function as it should. So yeah, we're not singing a song here, a better devil or a better worse. Yes, at this point we should be at a stage whereby the national minimum wage is around somewhere there, 10K, because the economic situation tells us that at this point we should be there. But we are a work in progress. We're not celebrating where we are now, but I think it's disingenuous to say that nothing has been done. 3.5 shouldn't be a starting point now, but okay, we find ourselves here now. Should we throw our hands up and languish in self-pity, or should we say these are the errors that we've committed now, and we take cognizance of them? This is a plan. This is a clear plan and strategy to move our people forward. This is where we should be. So we should quickly aspire to move to that level. But since we're here now, let us realistically and comprehensively deal with the issues where we find ourselves. I think that's it on my side.
Thank you, Mr. Mapila. Thank you. Yes, we are having a political debate. You're still tuned in. Bay Waves on Bold Moves Radio. I'm your host, Happiness, and I'm co-hosted by my amazing co-host, Takhato. We also have heavyweights in here. Khwadia Motse representing ANC, Mr. Pala representing Varsity Politics, and Mr. Trevor representing EFF. So right now we are left with 35 minutes towards closing. So this platform right now, we're going to open it to the comment section. We are officially closing the comment section at 2045. So if you comment after 2045, we will not answer you. We will not answer you live. We'll just comment on your comment, reply on your comment. Sorry. So yes, Takhato, I'm sure you have something for us.
Cecil Maboko. Oh, finally, Khwadi can take a break, guys. So Cecil Maboko is saying, this is directed to Mr. Trevor. In the communities that EFF is dominant in, what have you done of great significance?
Mr. Trevor, did you hear the question?
Oh, yeah, no. I thought maybe you'll just give me a go ahead, but it's fine. The EFF in Johannesburg made sure that security guards, cleaners, and others are then insourced. After that, we made sure that we root out corruption in most of the municipalities where we formed part of leadership. And we also made sure that we open clinics for 24 hours. So you can imagine if ever we were having, let's take a municipality on its own, how many things we should have achieved. And because we are honest and we're open, we're not raising a whole lot of issues. We're raising genuine issues which needs just a touch and then it moves. Unlike coming and saying, no, we'll buy you a car, which is not possible. We're raising genuine issues where indigent people, actually those who are beneficiaries of grants, are not paying for the services, but they are then subsidized by those who are having more income, which makes it more simple and more easier for our people to live and go forward and get basic services. Because ours, it's basic services. We care about basic services. We care about our people. And that's why we raise mostly genuine basic things, which just need a touch. And where we're having a problem, when you find that even though you want to put a touch, there are certain individuals whom are benefiting who don't want you to be as far as that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. Before Kilifa, the official platform, yeah, Blow by Blow, Takhato, do you have any more questions?
No, there are no more questions from here.
All right. So, guys, this is me saying I have a few, please. Oh, a few questions. Mr. Pala, you can, but I know you're gonna come Katawaya EFF. If it's regarding the EFF thing, it's the thing that I want to open now. ANC against EFF or EFF against ANC, whatever you guys want to call it. So I'm saying, this is me, I have registered to vote, but I do not know Gorko Votela in. So Mr. Mapila, why should I vote for ANC? Mr. Trevor, why should I vote for EFF? Win me over. By the end of this show, I should know Gorko Votela. So I don't know who wants to go first. Trevor, Mr. ANC has been here for so long.
I think I'll give...
Trevor, can you hear me? Mr. ANC has been here for so long, so I think it's better no go be a Billy because wow. He had enough platform. Yeah, so why should I vote for the EFF?
The EFF is raising genuine issues that seek to liberate young people. If you check, even the councillor candidates are young people because we understand where young people are standing and we understand where young people should go. We speak basic services, we speak employment, and we want our people to get best services in time, not to wait and say, we'll create jobs after 24 or 20, after 27 years. We want jobs to be created now. And how should we then create jobs? How do we then come with that plan? Because we must not have plans that are not going to be sustainable. We're saying, in-source our people. It doesn't need you to have metric for you to be a cleaner, to pick up papers. So let's have our people in-sourced, let's have our people employed. And we must move away from this system of tenders because tenders are the problem, that the reason of us being where we are with the ANC today, because they don't care what happens as long as their people eat. And we don't want that. So that's why we're saying, let's move away from tenders. Let's get a strategy where we put our people into place. Let's then fund education. That one I can repeat it again. Let's fund education. Those that are deserving, they must go to school. They must study. They must be like us and be graduates, because that's where we're going to have a lot of people being employed and people that will come up with serious ideas. That's why the EFF manifesto states clearly that when you vote for the EFF, you have voted for the light that seek to liberate young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. On to you, Mr. Khwadi.
Ako labo Khadia Maruti. ANC. Instead of saying this is what we wish to do, this is what we wish to do. If you vote for us, this is what we are thinking we're going to do. The ANC has a proven track record that in the past 25 years, it has made basic services free. Electricity, water, and housing. Over 4 million houses have been given to poor and South African who are deserving. It has broadened the access, like Trevor was saying, it has broadened the access to education to over 10 million learners in 20,000 fee-free schools. It has come up with an initiative to make sure that as the young ones go to school, there's a National School Nutrition Program which caters for close to 10 out of 12 million learners in the state. There's a lot. The ANC has rolled out infrastructure programs in highways, public bus services, the upgrading of airports. We have world-class stadia, and on the critical issue of land, even though there's still a lot that can be done, or the pace at which land redistribution is achieved can be fastened or made quicker. 8.3 million hectares of land over the last 25 years has been redistributed to beneficiaries. So the ANC is capable and has capacity and has a proven record of being able to do, taking accountability of some of the faults as we were learning, It's questionable the record the ANC has had in service to our people at a local government level. Voting for the ANC on the 1st of November is the right and proper thing to do. It's giving the African National Congress mandate to serve our people going into the future. Because other parties, which I will not mention, Kamaina, are just a bit too emotional. We need cool heads. We're at a very critical point in this country. And we must choose the path that is right and suitable for a prosperous, non-sexist, non-racial South Africa. So, yeah, I would encourage South Africans in their multitudes to go to the polls. Importantly, to go to the polls on the 1st of November as part of a citizenry that is responsible, because our forebears died for this right to vote. It's not something that we must take for granted. That is the point of departure. That people, more especially young people, must go out there and vote. But most importantly, they must go out there and vote for the African National Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Mapila. Okay, we still have some bit of time. I don't know if Taha, do you have questions on the floor? Okay, she's still going to check. Mr. Phala, you now have the platform. I know you have a lot of questions, so this is the platform. Whoever you're shooting, please don't kill them. We need them next week. We are gonna have political debate part 2 next week. So make sure you don't kill anyone.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pilar. Yeah, I think I have a few questions for ANC and the EFF, but I'll start with the ANC. I want to hear from Munna Shukhwadi, or what is your ideological position with relate to the land question? What is ANC's ideological position with regard to the land question? And also the CR17 donation that white people donated to one politician who was contesting for leadership of the ANC, perhaps to buy or not to buy or to chow the money. What is the position of the ANC with relation to that? And then for EFF, really, we hear that the Economic Freedom Fighters is a July movement that believes in Marx, Lenin, and Fanonian, and Fanon, as in Frantz Fanon. I want to hear from my lead of the EFF here. What does Marx, Lenin, and Fanon benefits our people at the grassroots level? Those who are ground soldiers and those who are in the poor communities. What does Marx, Lenin, or Fanon benefits those people? Yeah, those are my two questions. I will have follow-ups.
All right. Mapila, you can go first. They asked you first.
Ago Palamatat. Mishato Mogolo Marti. To tackle your question on the ideology around the land question, let me unpack it for you a bit. You would understand that on that fateful day in 1912, when the then African Native National Congress was established by men and women of high stature, the priests of this world, Magoshi, it was established upon a principle that seek to speak to the question of land. 100 years later plus, we find ourselves here, still fighting for the same cause, amongst political rights also as secondary. the conference and the ANC conference took a resolution on Nazarek, as you would know, on amending the constitution to pave way for expropriation of land without compensation, but in a responsible way. Because you must understand that even though we are governing the state of South Africa as is does not exist in an island. There's this external factors also to consider. So you expropriate land in a rational manner that is not orderly. You run the risk of plunging this country into crisis. So you must, with cool heads, be able to engage on this. What is the most proper and fitting manner to give our people their land back, because it's theirs, to live on and to enjoy? How do we do this in a manner that does not effectively disrupt the whole economic chain and the value chain? So I think I'm answering you with questions, but those are just to provide clarity that yes, around the land question, there must be expropriation of land without compensation. We must be careful to do this in a manner that does not collapse our economy as a going concern. So I think I'll give Mr. Ngobeni platform to unplug learning principles.
But you forgot the issue of CR17 donation that was donated by the likes of Ramos and other people who we know they are the proponents of the capitalist establishment.
Pose your question again. The CR17 money that was.
I asked that what is the position of the ANC with relation to the donation of CR17? That those who we know they are the handlers of capital, they've donated to the men to win the ANC conference.
As a legal person myself, you would understand that court papers surrounding that have been sealed. So that matter is sub judice. I'm cautious to be making comments around that. I might be legally charged tomorrow, unless little donate a legal fee and
we'll donate money for you.
No, I just want to make a disclaimer to all speakers in the house that you are protected. Should you feel you don't want to comment on a certain matter, you can just say no comment and we move. You are protected, comrade. Now back to Mr. Ngube, Mr. Trevor. I don't even have any idea of King Jonathan.
The view of Marx is clear. It's the society as being divided by conflict between the social groups or class leadership who wake up society. So the EFF is clear on that position. It seeks to redress, remove the class society which we have, and have a classless society where our people are going to benefit duly in all aspects from the economy of the country going forward. And when you check the view of Benon, it deals with the violence as part of the anti-colonial struggle. And indeed, we're in a serious struggle that needs such aspects to form part, and then we're going to win victoriously. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. And Takatso, don't feel excluded in this conversation. If you have questions to them, either Trevor or Khwadi or Mr. Pala kwa Varsity Politics. Now my question to him, are there any like benefits, or actually there's advantages and disadvantages to everything. So what are the pros and cons of being an active political member in varsity? Joining the SRC, what comes with the drills? I want to know all about it, because not no one and are you guys just there for the money, for the fun of it, or do you go through some grilling process of some sort? Just tell me about that.
Yeah, well, on a lighter note, for obvious reasons, there will be benefits personally for a leader who's in the SRC. There are packages and all manner of things that you can benefit personally. I'm not sure of money. I've never benefited any monetary gains from the SRC. I'm not entirely sure of that. But in terms of gadgets and fees, they pay fees for you, and they give you a free phone and all manner of things. But also at the deeper level, there are disadvantages, because you'll understand that when you're a leader, you are representing the aspiration and the interests of the student, especially in our current context of Sefako Makgatho. We cater and serve the downtrodden, the children of the working class and the poor. So you are caught between the management and the students. The student wants a particular program to be advanced. At the same time, you must be able to fight the management. And the management are the people who are having your degree in their hands. So you are running a risk of being patched and sabotaged in as far as academics are concerned. I'm a victim of that. That you fight the management to a point whereby they fail you deliberately. And in our case, it's even worse that we are doing the clinical work, which is their jurisdiction, that there's nothing that you are going to do. It's them who observe and do all manner of things. So those are disadvantages when you are a political activist in a higher education sector. But moreover, it depends on which political organization do you represent. Because I want to believe that the ANC leaders, they stand to benefit a lot, because they serve the same narrative and agenda in as far as the higher education sector is concerned. In many occasions, they agree with the current space and the current position with which Dr. Blade Nzimande they are doing currently. But if you belong to perhaps maybe a leftist organization, there's quite a lot of things that can happen to you, because you are fighting at the level of the university, and as well you are fighting at the level of at the national level. So it's easier for you to be patched, to be told where to get off, and all manner of things. So it depends on where. If you are from DA, well, the liberals and liberal thinkers and those people, there are a lot of benefits that you can benefit from the establishment people. So entirely, you are not disagreeing with them, you're just disagreeing with the approach. But my last comment will be, I think Khwadi is being very disingenuous and dishonest with us. He's very diplomatic with his answering, because he knows very well what is the problem with the donation of the CR17. And I know, because the truth, he knows that that money was meant to retain the status quo. It was meant to capture the ANC through Cyril Ramaphosa. by Europeans and the colonialists and the people that were fighting in the past. Now, because the ANC is in bed and is in a romantic relationship with the establishment, they are basically protecting them. But also on the issue of the land, Mr. Khwadi, you know very well that the central position of all liberation movements in the country was the issue of land. And if today, after 27 years and beyond, we find ourselves in a situation whereby the ANC is tiptoeing and dilly-dallying on the land question, we have a problem, because land, you know, is wealth. Land is everything and anything else that you can think in the entire country. So we want the land back. And you know very well, you'll accept the historical fact that the land, South Africa is a stolen land. It was stolen from our forefathers. And if you are going to say that we must do this thing in a diplomatic and responsible way, you are just being economical with the truth. The truth is, this land was stolen by the colonialists and we want it back. And the ANC is delaying the revolution. And hence I'm saying to you that, please, wherever you find yourself in the ANC, please patch carry on with the narration of the land must go back to the indigenous people, and people are hungry for the land, and especially at the economic level, because the land is very important in as far as the economy is concerned. And on Mr. Trevor, I think you did not entirely answer my question with relation to Marx, Lenin, and Fanon. I asked that what does Marx, Lenin, and Fanon benefit our people at the grassroots level? If I'm a poor man who's hungry, who does not have a shelter, who does not have a running water, who does not have a toilet, proper flushing toilet, if you're going to come and tell me that the EFF is a Fanon and Lenin and a Marx organization, how does that benefit me at that instant level? Because I want shelter, I want water, I want all manner of things. When Rosie or Floyd preaches Fanon on national TV, how does that actually have a material effect on me as a layman and a poor man? Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Pala, for that one. Before Mr. Trevor answer, I just want to say to the audience, we have officially closed the comment section. So whatever you leave there, we will comment or reply to it after this live. Takatso, were there any questions that you took in before 2045?
No, there were no questions.
Okay. So I'll just take it back to Mr. Trevor. Before I take it there was a question. Takatso, if you can go to your WhatsApp, because I need that question about the borders opening, something to do with the EFF.
The Put South African First thingy.
Yes.
You asked how does it affect the party since EFF is a borderless party, like the Put South African First movement. How at the end does it affect the whole party itself?
Okay, I
This
think
one
Mr.
is
Trevor, you
the
can answer that one. Yes.
Or can she come again on that one?
The Put South African's First movement by the EFF. How does because EFF prides itself in being a borderless party? How does that movement affect the party?
How does it affect the party, or how does it affect the country?
How does it affect? Let me double check.
Okay.
I think it has to be country.
Well, she is still double checking the question that was sent to Mr. Trevor.
Oh.
You copied the first question that was addressed to you by Mr. Pala. The second one from Takatso. Yes, Takatso.
What is your opinion of the Put South Africa or Africans First considering that EFF is for One Borderless Africa, do you think this affects the growth of the party?
Okay.
Mr. Trevor.
No, it doesn't affect the growth of the organization because our people understand the position of the EFF, that it puts Africans first. And we should live in a borderless society because these borders were created by the settlers and we cannot use them anymore. It's about time we go back to one currency and one Africa. This will assist us in making sure that we manage to trade within ourselves properly, so without disturbance, and be able to grow our economy as Africa. And that's the policy position of the EFF, and it's finding relevance amongst the people because people are very happy to actually make contact with fellow Africans and make sure that we benefit as Africans going forward without white rebels dealing with us. And, we can manage to take Africans forward.
And Yaga, Mr. Pala, I think he asked the question as well.
Oh, Mr. Pala. Mr. Pala, I think it's Fanon and Mark's name. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mr. Pala, when our people are hungry, they want us to come back to them and make sure that we deliver them with processes that will ensure that they eat. And how do we then do that? We must come up with those policies that seek to liberate our people, which are socialist policies. And these policies seek to liberate Africans, which is the likes of nationalizations of mines and banks and other economic strategic sectors, and abolishment of tenders as well. So these are the things that will at least assist our people to move from poverty and be able to have food at the end of the day.
All right, thank you, Mr. Trevor. I hope, Mr. Pala, you are answered. He is nodding yes. Thank you for that one. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. 2 hours felt like 2 seconds, Taibo. But do not worry, guys. We are going to have another political debate next week, episode 2, where we'll be talking about corruption, scandals. We are naming and shaming. And hopefully, our heavyweights will also be joining us next week. So right now, I'm gonna give each speaker 2 minutes max just to give the concluding statement or question, whatever that is, or shout outs if there are any shout outs. 2 minutes max. And to our audience, I'd like to apologize for the extension of time. We were late, so yeah, it's just gonna be a 10 minutes extension. But yeah, we know for a little cabbage, so it's not a problem. Khadiamuti, you are gonna come first, followed by Mr. Pala, then Mr. Trevor, then my co-host will give the rounding statement. You can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you once again for the opportunity and platform to engage. On issues that were touched by Mr. Pala, I'm generally a very honest human being, and I think we must find time and platform to engage further on the issues that you touched. I think we will come out of that conversation real and knowledge and wisdom. Take a detour at this current point in time in this country, our people are dealing with 2 pandemics. The first one is COVID-19. Let's adhere to the non-pharmaceutical measures wash our hands, try and social distance as much as we can, wear our masks. The second one is gender-based violence. Society is degrading, and it's degrading to a level of cannibalism at our hands. We must condemn in the strongest sense gender-based violence and the abuse and killing of women and children. We can do better. We are a people that is born from a community that is established upon morals, that which protects its women and children. Let us take time to reflect. What we're doing is wrong. Let us take time to reflect, address the trauma as a society, go to the root of this thing. Why is it that we're acting this way? Why is it that society, but in particular women and children, are not free to exist? When we've made so many strides to get to this point that we enjoy the freedoms and privileges that this world has to offer. Yeah, it's about time that this has to come to a stop. Government has to play its role, but it comes down to society at its basic level. Our sisters live in fear. It's scary. Our sisters live in fear that the next time they go out shopping, they could come back dead or might have become another part of the statistic rape. It's painful. It's painful that we live with sisters that are scared of us. It's definitely not on. Let me take this opportunity again to pay homage to the late Thulare wa Boraro, Hlabiro wa Bau, Moshato Mogolo Maruteng, Pula.
Thank you, Mr. Mapila. Mr. Mapila is the leader. I know him from back at home. So to the other speakers, please, 2 minutes max. Do not exceed 2 minutes. Mr. Pala, you have the mic.
You're very unfair, but it's fine. But anyway, in a nutshell, man, all of the best to all political organizations. We wish and pray that the leftist agenda wins in the coming local municipality elections, be it in the EFF form or the bloc of the ANC. We wish them the best. And Khwadile representing Awodze in the ANC, I hope you are a leftist force and take charge and make sure that we're bringing our land back. And to the EFF as well, all of the best. Don't forget that we are fighting the white establishment and the European who stole our land and all many other things. And like Khwadi has said that on a gender-based violence and abuse of children and women, we can do better as men. We're living in a patriarchal and misogynistic communities. Let's do better, especially those of us who find ourselves to be leaders in spaces. Let's do better and protect our women and children. Thank you very much. And to Bold Moves Radio, we appreciate the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pala. Mr. Trevor, you can take the stand.
Thank you very much. Hey, you know, this network of the ANC dealt with me. I was out. But I would like to thank everyone who formed part of this sitting. These are the kind of sittings that we must have more, and as young people, and not looking at the fact that we're from different organizations, but persuade one another to agree and disagree. And I would like to also give condolences to those families that lost their loved ones through pandemic. It's very sad, and I wish them well in future. And also, when it comes to gender-based violence, at least it was 3 males today. I believe next time we can also have females engaging in such issues, because we do need them in the space. We cannot say we're supporting females when they are not in our space debating issues as well, because they must raise their voice and their voice must be heard. And that's what we stand for. That's why even when we go now to elections, we are told strictly that we are going to have 50-50 in the EFF. We are not having 60 or 40-50 or 40-60. It doesn't work there. So it's 50-50, it's 50 males, 50 females. So that's what we stand for. And they would like to have more females going forward, and then we engage in such progressive sittings. And I would like to ensure that all young people be ready to go and vote for the EFF on the 1st of November, because that's the only organization that speaks their language. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. Last born.
Firstly, I would like to applaud the men for addressing gender-based violence. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, I just want to throw in a comment. Like Khwadi convinces you in a smooth way, so you might end up voting like ANC, but let's go vote, guys. Let's go vote.
Okay, thank you, Takatso. Khwadi, you're coming with your smooth talking already. Takatso nyako vote like ANC, but it's okay. Like I said earlier, we are gonna be having political debate episode 2 when we'll be talking about corruption and moving forward. So today was just basically how the parties affect the development of South Africa. Thank you to our heavyweights, our guests. Thank you for honoring our invitation, Mr. Phala, Mr. Trevor, and Mr. Khwadiamodze. So we hope to see you again next week. And I'm also calling out to other political parties. DA, we want to see you here next week. And like Mr. Trevor said, we need female representatives. We've been hearing from men for the past, I don't know, many years. So we need female reps, female leaders to come here next week. So until then, have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. Let's meet again next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Please follow our YouTube channel. It is Bold Moves Radio. And here on Facebook, we are Strike Manganyi. Like and follow the page. Do not forget to engage. And yeah, good night from me, your host. We love you from the Bay Waves and Bold Moves Radio family. We love you so much. Good night. Bye.